Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Come on, Prabhu. Sein.
Madhava Jaya Kunjabi Hari Gopi Janavalabha Jaya Giri Varadhari Yashodanandana Jaya Vraja Janaran Jana Yashodanandana Jaya Vraja Janaran Jana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunjabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunjabi Hari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Radha Gadada Shivasari Goura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Radha Madhava Ki. Hare Krishna. So, versteht jeder Deutsch? Does somebody not understand German? Hands up. 1, 2, 3. Versteht jemand kein Englisch? Hand hoch. Oh Mann, oh Mann. So, yeah, I don't know. Then we speak Spanish. Hare Krishna. Okay. The Bhagavatam, English Bhagavatam is on the front. Yeah. It's okay. So I speak in English. What you do? Ich spreche in Englisch. Ich versuche langsam zu sprechen, damit man schön übersetzen kann. We are reading from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, continuing in the 8th chapter of the 4th canto, text number 47 or 46? What is on the board? 47, yeah. Śrīvatsaṅkam ganāśyāmam Śrīvatsaṅkam ganāśyāmam Puruṣam vānamālinam Puruṣam vānamālinam Shankha chakra gada padmair Advidyakta chaturbhujam Advidyakta chaturbhujam. So before we continue with the Sanskrit, I think some of you know some of the words, so it becomes more exciting when we read the translation so we can understand what it means. So, Śrīvatsaṅkam. Yeah, what do you think could it mean? Yeah? Yeah, Śrīvatsaṅkam. So there's Śrīvatsaṅkam. Then ganāśyāman. You know? And the name of Krishna, yeah, but exactly what does it mean? What does Shama mean? Dunkel, yes. And ganāśyāma, yeah, deep blue, it's translated here. And then Puruṣam, what could it mean? Yeah? Yeah, male, enjoy, very good, yeah. Yeah, awesome, very good. There are many different options, so that's very interesting. So we can see Śrīvatsaṅkam, he who wears the Śrīvatsa jewel, ganāśyāman, he is very dark, and he's the male enjoyer with now comes Vanamalinam. What could this be? Any guesses except Subal Gopal, he's the super joker today? Yeah, what could it be? Yes? Like from where do we know Vana? Which word? Come on, everybody knows that, yeah. Yes, Vrindavan, Mahavan, so it's also the word Van, so that's the forest. So we have Vanan, and then Malinam, what could this mean? Everybody knows, we chant every day on the Japa Mala. So what does it mean? So Mala, so Vanamali means, it means a flower garland. So he who wears a flower garland of forest flowers, basically, Vanamali. Who wears the forest around the neck, basically. And then Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padmair. So everybody must know these. Let's go one after the other. Shankha. What is Shankha? Yes, conch. Okay, Chakra. Yeah, Sudarshan Chakra, yes. Gada. Now becomes more complicated. Brian, what is Gada? Yeah, which weapon? Yes, that's the mace, as we say in English. Die Keule in Deutsch. Boing. Yeah. Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padmair. So Padma, what does mean Padma? Lotus. You were too fast. And then the next one I myself didn't know. Abhivyakta means manifested. So Vyakta, Vyaktam Apanam Manjunteya Buddhayaha. In Bhagavad Gita verse we say manifested, not manifested. So Abhivyakta. Vyakta means to be manifest, and Abhivyakta means in this context it's translated as manifested. It's a certain conjugation, I don't exactly know, but it's Vyakta means manifested. Then Chaturbhujam. Chatur means four, yeah. And Bhuja means four-handed. Chaturbhujam, he who has four hands. So, and now we can think Śrīvatsam, he who wears a Śrīvatsa jewel. Ganāśyāmam is very dark, bluish. Puruṣam, who is the enjoyer. Vanamalinam, who wears the flower garland. And Shankha Chakra Pada Padmair, he who wears the four signs. And Abhivyakta, manifested in his four-handed form. So it's describing the supreme personality of God with his four hands, what he's holding in his hands, his hue, how he looks like, and he is wearing a forest garland and has a Śrīvatsa sign. So now we can chant the verse. Śrīvatsaṅkam ganāśyāmam Puruṣam vānamālinam Shankha Chakra Gada Padmai Abhivyakta Chaturbhujam Shrivatsankam Ganashyamam Purusham Vanamalinam Shankha Chakra Pada Padmai Abhivyakta Chaturbhujam. Now it's very interesting to chant a verse, isn't it? It's like, yeah, we got to learn, now we know what this means. So Prabhu, please chant. Sankam Ganashyamam Purusham Vanamalinam Kachakra Dagada Padmai Abhivyakta Chaturbhujam Shrivatsankam Ganashyamam Purusham Vanamalinam Shankha Chakra Kada Padmai Abhivyakta Chaturbhujam. Mataji's. Shrivatsankam Ganashyamam Purusham Avanamalinam Chakra Kada Padmai Abhivyakta Chaturbhujam Shrivatsankam Ganashyamam Purusham Vanamalinam Shankha Chakra Gada Padmai Abhivyakta Chaturbhujam. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So now we could see the difference between knowledge and ignorance. When you chant a verse in ignorance, not knowing exactly what it means, it has a different power as when you know what you're chanting, and thus it becomes more powerful. No, we could see the Supreme Personality being described in this beautiful verse. Shrivatsankam Ganashyamam Purusham Vanamalinam. So it's also not only, it's very poetic also, it has a rhyme with it. And then Shankha Chakra Kada Padmai Abhivyakta Chaturbhujam. Translation. The Lord is further described as having the mark of Shrivatsa, or the sitting place of the goddess of fortune, and his bodily hue is deep bluish. The Lord is a person. He wears a garland of flowers, and he is eternally manifested with 4 hands, which hold, beginning from the left lower hand, conch shell, wheel, club, and lotus flower. So now it's very interesting that we see the difference of just the Sanskrit and the translation by Srila Prabhupada. Because Prabhupada puts into the translation already in such a way that we can understand it in a proper way. It does not only give the literal translation, but a translation with the real meaning to it, and with a deeper Sanskrit meaning. So the Lord is, because he's being further described from the verse before, there was already a description, and then the description continues. So the Lord is being described as having the Shrivatsa mark, and then it says it's the sitting place of the goddess of fortune. That was not in the Sanskrit verse, but he's adding to it so that we understand. As we say, oh, Shrivatsa, what does it mean? Then his bodily hue is deep bluish. The Lord is a person, Purusha, what we say, he's male, he's a person. He wears a garland of flowers, Vanamali, and he is eternally manifested with 4 hands. So Chankha Chakra Gada Padmai, and eternally manifest comes from the word Abhivyakta, manifest. So Abhivyakta, eternally manifest with 4 hands, and which hold, and then he enlists conch shell, wheel, club, and lotus flower. So this is the nice meaning, how we can see how Prabhupada is translating the verse in a very honest and very deep way, actually, which we sometimes may not really appreciate, but Sanskrit scholars and other greatly learned persons can see that Prabhupada is really true to the essence of it, of the verse itself, and gives it in a very accessible way to us. So let's read the purport and translate purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charnavinda Bhaktivinoda Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Here in this verse, the word Purusham is very significant. The Lord is never female. He's always male, Purusha. Therefore, the impersonalist who imagines the Lord's form as that of a woman is mistaken. The Lord appears in a female form if necessary, but His perpetual form is Purusha because He's the original male. And the feminine nature of the Lord is displayed by the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, Radharani, Sita, etc. All these goddesses of fortune are servitors of the Lord. They are not the supreme, as falsely imagined by the impersonalist. Lord Krishna, in His Narayan feature, is always four-handed. On the battlefield of Kurukshetra, when Arjuna wanted to see His universal form, he showed this feature of the four-handed Narayan. Some devotees are of the opinion that Krishna is an incarnation of Narayan, but the Bhagavat school says that Narayan is a manifestation of Krishna. Om Jnana Timirandasya Kananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumlitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamhayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanjana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhishya Kripa Sindhube Vasya Patitanam Bhavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthana Bhutale Srimati Kutumbhakanana Samati Namni. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthana Bhutale Guru Das Chaitweta Samati Namni. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthana Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Samati Namni. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nevishesha Sundyavari Paskatari Desha Tarini. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna. Brian, quickly. Did you press the record button also? Okay. And you can also take the audio from here if you want for the live stream. And it doesn't have this ground noise. Shri Shri Prahlad Smriti Bhagavan Ki Jai. Wow, so beautiful. Yes. So, very interesting. In the purport, Prabhupada says that Purusha, he goes into the explanation of Purusha. What is Purusha? Enjoyer or the enjoyed. We say there's Purusha and there's Prakriti. Prakriti means the energy. And some say, impersonalist, Prabhupada says, consider the Lord, the Supreme, to be Prakriti. Actually, in the Rasa philosophy, in the Tattva, we understand that the Supreme is Purusha, Krishna himself. But if you look into Rasa Tattva, the emotional structures and the emotional flow of love in relationship to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we can discern that actually there's more energy, more love with the energetic, with the energy than with the energetic. See, being that Radharani is called Madan Mohan Mohini, so that she even enchants Lord Krishna, because she's so full of love and attraction towards Krishna that Krishna cannot resist. So this is the supreme quality of Srimati Radharani, that she is not only the energy of the Lord, but she is even surpassing the energetic, her possessor, by overloading him or with her love. And thus we can see that Srimati Radharani is actually supreme, not according to the Tattva, but according to the Rasa. And Rasa, what does Rasa mean? The Rasa, the Rasa-Lehre, the Rasa teachings say that Srimati Radharani is the one who even controls the controller of all the worlds. Even though we see that Krishna, actually himself, is the controller of it all. He is, one could say in some way that Radharani is dependent upon him. So how could it be that the dependent is making the Lord dependent? Very interesting. But this is the supreme flow of love, which is never straight. It is, as we say, always a little crooked. No, it goes always its its curves and its flow. So we can see that the Supreme Personality of Godhead has amazing qualities and is not always very easy to understand. Sometimes it says it's easy for the easy but complicated for the complicated. So we can view things in a very simplified way and they will make sense, or we can look in a very detailed way and they will not make very much sense, but will be very interesting for the mind to understand. But they're still full of emotions. And then those who go deep, the acharyas, they go so deep into the tattva of rasa and into the teachings of rasa. Rasa-Lehre ist so ein schönes Wort. Warum gibt es nicht so ein schönes Wort in Englisch? Ne? Rasa-Lehre. Okay, anyways. There's in this wisdom about rasa, it becomes more and more detailed, more and more complex. And it's not only one weight, but it becomes every sentence that they say in the exchange of love between Radha and Krishna and his servants, it has many different meanings. In the same way, also the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam verses, they have many different meanings. If you go deep into the Sanskrit, if you see Vishnava Chakravarti Thakur's comments, others, they can derive so much rasa, so much essence from the verse that is being spoken. Because if we read, we're just reading one verse, but we see it's Narada Muni speaking to Dhruva Maharaj, and he's describing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this verse is not only just the description of the Lord, but he's telling a 5-year-old boy how the Lord is looking like and how he can approach him. So it's a whole rasa in there. There's a whole connection of how and why Narada Muni is using these specific words to describe the Supreme Personality of Godhead to a 5-year-old boy. So in the next verses, if you read actually the whole chapter, you will see that Narada Muni has a special relationship with Dhruva Maharaj. And you can try to understand how is he trying to teach a 5-year-old to become a pure devotee. That's amazing. But that is to be seen in the next verses. And maybe in the end of lecture, if we have time, we can read some more verses just for the sake of reading them, because it's nice to hear about Krishna again and again. But now I want to go into something very interesting, something philosophical, which is very detailed and which is very complex. Because things are not always as they seem to be. So first, if we talk about truth, we are talking about things that we consider as true. So what is the definition of truth? Now let's go into a philosophical analysis. Truth, let me read it out for you. I made some notes. And truth is always described as being empirical and logical. Und empirisch. So empirical means it's based on observations of and experiences about the external world. Basically, you experience something. For example, it's a truth. If you go out in cold weather and you don't wear a jacket, you catch a cold. It's a truth. And so this is one example. Then the most common definition of truth connects the propositions to real world facts. So it's something that we connect to some world facts. In other words, establishing truth relies on facts as they stand, and a belief of or proposition is defined as true in that belief or proposition corresponds to the facts in the real world. So in my relationship of me going out and catching a cold, that's my relationship of experiencing the outer world and then establishing a truth of it, saying I catch a cold when I go out. So, but then there might be somebody who is not so subjugated to the cold, who has maybe grew up in the North Pole and has no problems going out without a jacket, and he's not getting a cold. So is it for him a truth or is it not a truth? For us it is a truth, but for him it is not. So we cannot say it is an absolute truth. It's a relative truth. So this is the definition of truth. Truth is based on empirical and logical understanding. But it's not always, not every truth is absolute. Especially in this world of relativities, every truth is dependent on the person understanding it. Then truth cannot contradict. If you try to establish a truth about the world, it should not contradict the general understanding. But still, there always will be differences, because we never have a world which is completely one-sided. You know, as I said, you go out, and okay, another truth we could say, if it rains, I go out, I become wet. That's a general truth. But there might be also different circumstances where it might not be happening like that. So it must be empirical, logical to understand. So this is a truth that we can understand. And then we have the other word is reality. What is real and what is truth? So the difference is reality or real is that what we philosophers consider that what is, you know, that what you see here, what is happening, what is existing without being observed. Basically, it's just it is as it is. So, and then so for example, we could say we try to escape reality when we watch a video. You know, when we're in a completely different world. If we are completely immersed in Krishna, are we escaping reality? Or are we connecting to reality? That's a new question. So therefore it's very interesting to understand these different terms. And also when we say the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Absolute Truth. So all these words, they have a very deep meaning, which is not only just, okay, that's the truth, but what does truth mean? And what is reality? Should we say the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the absolute reality? Or the absolute truth? So it's very interesting. Defining what is real differs among philosophers even. It is a complex philosophical question, but standard definitions include establishing what is real by what has substance, substance and actually exist in the real world. For something to be real, it must exist and not be context dependent. So it cannot just exist if in a certain context and another context not. So it must be existent in itself. Being non-context dependent means it is real and it is of itself. So we have the rain is outside, it is real. The windows, they are real, they exist if I observe them or not. The rain, the outside area, the inside area, there's different realities which actually exist. So if we see that, okay, so truth basically means it's the experiences of reality and that we can discern by empirical and logical means. And reality is that which is existing in itself, we could say, no? So we say now the reality is we are sitting in this material world, we're sitting here in this lecture, we're trying to understand something, and then the truth is that if you're sitting here and listening Bhagavad Katha, you become liberated. So that's a truth that is, we can say, experienced and observed by sages in ancient time. So this is a truth, according to the philosophical definition. If you see, it has been, therefore Prabhupada always says, it is a scientific process. It's an absolute truth. You can experience it and anybody can do it. Anybody who sits in the kirtan and listens to Krishna's holy names, he will be liberated, just by listening to transcendental sound vibration. So it's very interesting, just that we being exposed to absolute reality, we are experiencing absolute truth, and we are being elevated to be to be ourselves and as a soul in connection to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this means that actually when we see the absolute truth, it's then I say absolute truth because it's not depending on the relativity of a person's understanding, because every person's understanding of the world is partially true. It can never be completely true. So, but we, even as devotees, we can never completely understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Can we understand the Supreme? No, we're so small and He's so big. But that makes it more exciting. No, we're trying to understand each and every part of His personal character, His love for His devotees, and His amazing features. And the more we understand and analyze them, the more we become attracted. That means Also rasa, we become more and more, and it becomes it's a cooking pot, it becomes an attraction competition. Who is attracted by whom more? And Krishna is pulling you more, and you're pulling more Krishna. So you're always attracting one another to understand things. But not also is this experience, is there not only as a matter of fact that you experience, you understand the Supreme Truth, but it's also an emotional experience. We experience then reality of Krishna, being Krishna in an emotional way. Being in Kirtan, we experience Him, the Absolute Truth, by our devotion. So now if we go even just back to the material world, just understanding truth, what is reality, even normal philosophers have the difficulty to understand what is real reality. Because if everybody does a double slit experiment where you have, in quantum physics, you try to understand what is happening there. And they observe that if somebody is observing matter changes. So even just, so then you could say, like, even philosophers, if you want to understand reality, how can you understand reality? What can you say what is real, what is not real? You cannot say, because you just observing reality is changing reality. So what is real? And then you can say, do I create reality? Do I manifest reality? Or is devotion or to Krishna also manifesting reality? Or is it that we are being drawn, or is reality coming, is it there already and we're just trying to experience it? So in the Rasa Tattva, we understand that reality is both sided. It's not only that, because then many impersonalists, which we also come back to the purport, they say that the Supreme is the energy, but we say the Supreme is the energetic. So in Rasa Tattva and Tattva, we understand that the Supreme is existent as it is, but also there is the energy, and they're both competing with one another. So in a similar way, we are in a interdependence. It's not only one-sided. It's not that we only create reality. No, that's not true. It's both-sided. So there is the matter and there is us, and we're influencing matter, and matter is influencing us. And we are having, I would say, it's a dance with the material world. You're dancing with the material world. You're trying to exploit her somehow for your use and sense enjoyment, but at the same time, Maya is draining out every attention of you and dragging you down into material world and consciousness. But you're trying to enjoy it, and the more you enjoy it, you go in. But if you try to let go of it, still dancing with the material world, you can become liberated and dance, and then suddenly you realize, if you come in contact with spiritual nature, that the person you're dancing with is a devotee, is a servant of Krishna. Maya is also a servant of Krishna. And actually you can utilize this wonderful energy to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead and make a beautiful dance for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Haribol. So we can see that matter and reality is always something which is very dynamic. It is something which is evolving through our life and evolving through our devotional career, I would say, our devotional emancipation. Why emancipation? Emancipation means if you become liberated from the government of suppressing hand, mana, suppressing hand of somebody. If you escape the suppressing hand of somebody, you're emancipated. So we are escaping the suppressing hand of Maya by becoming emancipated in a spiritual way. So we become emancipated by chanting the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So that is our spiritual progress, where we actually are coming in contact with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, where we are actually coming in contact with Krishna. And it's a both-sided dance. We are able, in the same way also, we are creating part of our karma. We have karma which is manifested coming upon us through the material world, but we can influence it. We can come in contact with the Supreme Personality of Godhead by chanting His holy names, by engaging in devotional service. And this can be seen even materially, very physically, very simple, but also very spiritually, just seeing from the part of the soul, where the soul is then at one point not even more bound to this material world. Therefore it says, Sivom mukhe hi jivadau svayam evas puratya. the liberated person becomes liberated even though still being within this body. Meaning, even though you're in this body, you can be completely aloof from all these rules and regulations of material nature. You cannot be beyond the principles of material nature by just being in contact with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then we can say this supreme emotions and supreme connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they influence and they spiritualize matter, where you come in contact with. So it means that at this point your energy is spiritualized, and your energy is not only spiritualized, but you're spiritualizing what you come in contact with, and you can connect everything to Krishna. Prabhupada says it's as electricity. So if you're a guru, if you want to be a spiritual person, then you just need to connect to the power source. It says my only credit is that I'm connecting to the power source, and then I'm just giving the electricity to the next person. I don't get any credit, I'm just passing it on. Or like the postman who brings the post to the person. We don't have any credit for it, we're just passing it on. So we're just passing it on. We don't have any credit, but it's our possibility to be connected to this Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's something very exciting. It's exciting, and we can experience it every day, how we are evolving spiritually, how we are more and more not anymore dancing with this mature world, but actually we're dancing more and more with Krishna's energy, and being able to serve him and use this mature energy that we have in his service. And actually then a pure devotee in the end realizes this mature world, it's not only something material, it's all his energy, it's all a sign of his love. And he's completely full of love, and he's immersed, he jumps into an ocean of love and gratefulness. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments or critics? Sorry if I was fast, but it was such a nice topic, I needed to speak fast. So you want to say that just knowing that the Supreme Lord loves us would be enough, and not needing to know all his qualities and opulences would be necessary to love the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Is that right? Yeah. So, yeah, in some way it is. You know, as I said before, it's simple for the simple. If you're happy and you're enough attracted, like a child, to your mother, if you're enough attracted to Krishna just by knowing that the Supreme Personality of God is loving you unconditionally, then it is enough for you. But if you want to know why and how, and then if you have this mind that needs this food, and every person has a different food that it needs. So we need this this information, or also this attraction just by understanding the Supreme Truth. Like I was talking about philosophical points about truth, reality, and emotions in spiritual life. So some want to go more deeply into these topics and really understand how all of this is working. And for some, it's just good to know, to say, okay, I chant the holy names of the Lord, and I want to surrender unto him. So that's complete in itself. And it's not that the who understands it all in details is better. He who has more love, he is better. So this is very important to understand. So we might not think like, because I understand everything with my big knowledge and understanding, I'm more, because sometimes even this can be a trap. You know, you can try to want to understand everything, and you go into all the details, and you become so fascinated with the material world, and you forget to think about Krishna or to love him. You know, because it is amazing. This material world is amazing. It is full of wonders. It's full of things. Like sometimes in universities, I present the books, and then there's like, yeah, you know, it's so amazing, and this and that, and then they think religious is just so simple. It's not for simple-minded people, but it's actually those who are loving God or believing in Krishna, they have a much deeper understanding. If you go into an understanding part, if you go into an emotional part, they might be just superficially, one would say, or simply loving God. But it is of a much higher quality than their wisdom or knowledge of all the material world, which is useless. It's like, I also told them, in Italian universities, now what are you doing? You're just studying your prison cell, you know. You're encaged in this material world, in your prison in bodily form, and then you're analyzing your prison, you know, oh, this brick is like so nicely put into this wall, and you know, has this and this connection with it, and because it was cut so precisely, therefore it's so good brick and such a nice wall, it's so amazing, the creator of this prison must be such a amazing person, and this, and then you think just about the bricks on the wall, and that's it, you know. So in the same way, I mean, men usually like to do it. I don't know if it's with ladies, but men, if I sit here in the temple room and chant my japa, sometimes I analyze how the tiles are connected with one another. Does it happen to you? Yeah, I can confirm. Ladies can confirm? No, absolutely not. So we have a different mind, you know, and it just works in a different way. So, sorry, I just need to be honest sometimes, huh? And so in this way, we're trying to understand this material world, but it might be completely not necessary. It's completely it's useless, you know? It's just the mind which needs some food. And so we need to feed the mind so that at one point we can connect to Krishna. And we can honestly be there. It's like, Krishna, I really love you. You're so amazing. So some need to analyze the bricks and understand, like, I want to know the person who built this. But some just end up analyzing all the bricks and being stuck with the bricks. And then thinking, yeah, it just all happened by some coincidence. So, but if you're honest, and therefore Prabhupada always says, if you're actually honest, are you an honest scientist or a cheating scientist? And if you're an honest scientist, you understand there's a supreme person. But if you're just trying to deceive yourself because you cannot accept there's a higher person, supreme person, you cannot surrender, then you're trying to deceive yourself and others. What are you? You're a cheater. And he's very happy about it. A kick in your face, he tells them. Yes, because what are they doing? They're misleading people. No, those who are simple-hearted, they're just trying to understand what is, and then just tell them it's all by accident. Come on, like, get your head together. It's not by accident, you know. So it's something very interesting, yeah. And we should understand what is our needs, and accordingly feed our mind with these needs, and so that our devotion towards Krishna, our attraction to Krishna, can be more solid. It becomes solid more over time. If you like just having this emotion, then just listen to kirtans. Listen to lectures where we talk about rasa katha or other katha where you can open up, you know. So, or others, they might want to go into philosophical topics, and it's just nice for them. Then instead of looking at the connections of the tiles, they will think about these things, you know. So this is something for the mind. So everybody has his own different mind, and as we see here, we can see how Narada Muni is describing the Supreme Personality of Godhead to a 5-year-old boy. You know, it's all on different levels, but it's all attractive. Any other questions? Yes, Sanjay?
Can you elaborate on this? How any sincere scientist comes to the conclusion that there must be a person?
Yeah, okay. So if we see now, we talked about philosophical side, truth, reality. So you can see any philosopher can say, also any physics, because the physics, there are some kind of philosophers amongst the Naturwissenschaftler. How do you call it in English? Naturwissenschaftler? Anyway, the scientists. Huh? Ja, but it's Naturwissenschaftler, gibt es ein spezielles Wort. And amongst them, you might understand, if reality is so subjugated to the observation of the person, of consciousness, then how did matter at all start to move? You know, there's inertia is one of the main principles of matter, but if matter starts only to act or react, if it's a primeval move, there must be like a push, something that has set it into motion. So just being set into motion by nothing, it's okay. We might even have say, okay, there was a big bang, that was the first motion, but what set the big motion into motion? So there must be something, the primeval motion. There must be something which pushes things as they are. And then what to say of all the laws and interactions that come? It's not that just by coincidence an electron is attracted to a positive thing. So it's not proton. So it's not just by coincidence. There are certain laws, certain things, and they don't come by coincidence. Not that we have the German law book that just comes by coincidence, but just little compared to the whole science of mature world. How a cell works, how everything works. It's amazing. So therefore Prabhupada says, if you're honest, if you see this, because any scientist who goes really into any matter, whatever, is it psychology, is it philosophy, is it economics, you can always understand it's so amazing. So this mature system here, it's amazing. And it's so huge, I can't just understand a fraction of it. And to have a grasp of it all, there must be some higher consciousness. And if you're trying to deny that, then you're actually a cheater. And you're cheating, misleading the public. And then Prabhupada is very heavy to them and says like, why are you cheating the public? Yeah, Hare Krishna.
So you would say that any sincere seeker in any field of knowledge, he will become basically overwhelmed by how systematic and intricate this world is built up.
It's not even overwhelmed. You just will. At one point you get the inside of it. It might be over, but at some point I think it isn't overwhelming. You can do this aha effect. This revelation, as they say. It's also in all the scientists. At one point they have the revelation. They have like, wow, yeah, it works like this. Edison, and he's like, okay, this thing works for the light bulb, or somebody realizes something. As you have like Newton sits under the tree and he has a revelation. There must be some energy pulling down the apple. It must be something. It just cannot just fall by itself. Why is it falling? You have some revelations, and this revelation moments are moments where you can actually have access to get a little glimpse of the world. Like I would say, it's like maybe a little glimpse of the Virat Rupa. It's a very, very, very tiny fraction. You get like, wow, my goodness. That's something huge. Because if you see the Virat Rupa, the universal form is being manifested to Arjuna, to Duryodhana, to Advaita Acharya, to Mother Yashoda. Yeah, so many are being seen in the universal form. So we have this aha effect. We have this revelation of the supremeness, and it's amazing. And the universal form it's a material manifestation of the Lord. It's not spiritual. It's just we get like the huge and amazing view of the Lord. It's Virat Rupa. That's very interesting. So it's and we get a glimpse, and we get this. And if you're honest, you surrender. But if you're proud, then you're still like, this cannot be. It must be like, you find some explanation for it. Some escape route, Because else, the thing is, if you're honest, then you would need to surrender. And this is like when many people read Prabhupada's books, that the Maharaj, my spiritual master, his son is Kadambakar Maharaj, he said like, he felt the pain. Prabhupada was all the time hammering, if you're a sincere person, you surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he said like, in one point he couldn't feel himself real if he would not surrender. Because your Prabhupada puts you on this point, if you're really a sincere person, you must surrender. There's no other way around it. And if you call him, now we might, I'm very broad-minded, so I would say you might call him Allah, Adonai, or whatever, but surrender to the Supreme Person. And that does not need to be that you become a Hare Krishna, Just be an honest person really trying to understand and love and serve God, And it doesn't mean that you need to be in a certain institution under a certain name, certain dress, certain haircut. It's no matter. But if you're really sincere, you will understand. And then if you're really, 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 really sincere, you will still understand that the Supreme Lord is a God playing on the flute in Vrindavan and has this energy. It is. And there are many mystics. There are Sufis, there are Christian mystics, and I was in a theological faculty in Basel, in Switzerland, and I was speaking with a Christian, really sincere Christian, and I asked him, how do you view God? What is the most intricate and amazing connection that you can have with the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Said yes, it's the dance. He also said the dance of love, the amorous relationship between the servant and the Supreme Personality. It's like, wow, that's exactly what I'm saying. We just had this moment of connection. We're like, both. I cried and he cried and we hugged each other. I was like, yeah, that's it. That's what we're looking for, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And it doesn't matter what religion you are in, what confession, it doesn't matter. If you're sincere, you will understand the truth as it is. You know, God will reveal himself in a very sweet and amazing way if you're actually sincere. You don't need to be in any institution or something. He's real. God is real. Krishna is real. He will reveal himself. So any scientist, even Nietzsche got a little, almost a glimpse. He said, if there's God, he must be a dancing God, a playing God, something joyful. It cannot be something spiritual. So he was thinking, what would be God be if there would be any God? And one of the greatest atheists, if there would be. He was thinking about it. So we can understand that there is the absolute truth, and we can have this revelation and the more we are sincere, we can actually understand it. The only problem is with us Hare Krishnas, we have such a high theology, which is, we put it straight in front of you. The Supreme Personality of God is a blue boy playing on a flute and has his energies dancing around them and enjoying. So it just might seem so trivial. It's just like, sometimes it's like maybe pearls put in front of a pig, we say in German, no? Perlen vor die Säue geworfen. We might not really understand this value of this knowledge, of this understanding, but actually it will become only real when our emotions are there, when actually we deeply have this connection with the Supreme, that yes, I want to be part of this love dance with the Lord. I want to serve him. I want to somehow facilitate, do something, please let me be of any help. And have this really deep service attitude, which is not just like an emotional thing, because we are frustrated with matter, we have this and that background, and now we just want to go turn to something else. No, but actually from deep from our heart, we have some love for God. And at this point then, all this, what we have heard for so many days and years, and then that Krishna is a person, he's a lovable person, he's playing on the flute, he's in Vrindavan, he has the gopis around him, all will become real, it's just like, then it becomes substantial, and it's amazing. And that's the real reality. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Mach, können wir nicht.